fine people out there in podcast land. I'm Suzanne, your hostess, and this is episode number 212 of eBay the Right Way. My guest is my dear friend from life, Catherine in Georgia. No announcements this week, so let's jump right in. Hello, listeners. I have my good friend Catherine with us today, and this may not be so much eBay focused as it is about us having a friendship for over 10 years now and just life in general. But Catherine is very entertaining, so I wanted to get her on the podcast. So, how are you this morning, Catherine?
Well, I'm doing just fine, thank you, here in Marietta, Georgia.
Okay. Now you've moved a few times since I came to your house, I think. Haven't you?
Well, yeah, I think I was living in Roswell when we met, and then we moved down after my husband had a stroke and everything, and we found us a really nice ranch house over here in Marietta, Georgia, and we really liked it.
Okay, good. So we'll get into that a little bit later about how you had to shift your entire life to be a caregiver, because that's huge. But some of the longtime listeners or folks that have been in the Facebook group might remember when you first came to the group, and I'm going to tell that story the way I remember it. So you joined the group. I remember it was 2013. And you were talking about this fabulous boutique you had in your basement. And you apparently went out and went thrifting and picking really nice clothes, and you are a good picker. And then you would have your friends, I think it was church friends, come over and try on clothes. And you had a little sitting area where they could drink wine.
That's right.
And I thought that was like, wow, yeah, you had it was fixed up really nice. It was very, trendy and very classy. And so you were like, yeah, and I have my church friends over and we have wine and you should come. And I'm thinking, your church friends are having wine, but I guess that's okay because, Jesus had wine, so that's okay. So, um, yeah, so I was very impressed. And so then you invited me to come over, and we started talking and you showed me around and everything. And then we worked out a deal where I helped you learn how to do shipping, and you traded me clothes for my time to teach you. And that was great. Well, let me let you tell like how it was set up, because you had shoes and jewelry and double racks of clothing and everything.
Yes, I did. It will see. I At that time there was a thrift store near my house, and like they would have once a week, they would have a day where everything in the store was $1. So I started accumulating all this stuff, and it started piling up in my dining room. And my husband was like, I can't have this. We need to sit in here and eat. So he had a friend come and build out a big room in my basement, and he literally built me a store in the middle of the room. He had kind of like a circular hanging rack where you could walk all the way around the room. And we hung all these clothes, and I had it really organized plus sizes on one wall, and I had things by size. And I just started having my friends, my neighbors, my friends, my church people, whoever just came in, and I would let them. Sometimes I'd give things away. My daughter would have her friends over and have like model photo shoot parties and stuff with her high school friends, and it was just a fun place for me to bring people. And we hung out down there, and it was. I had a wall with jewelry hanging on the wall, and a couple of big folding tables with stacked folded blue jeans. I had a lot of, at that time, embellished blue jeans that had like embroidery, like hippie boho looking jeans,
Right.
bottoms and stuff. And I just really learned a lot at that time about the different brands and things that I but I was getting these things like for $1. So I wanted to sell them, but you taught me how. You had to show me, set up my computer. I had no idea how to even use a computer. I don't know how in the world. I'm the most computer illiterate person. And for some reason, I ended up having a worldwide international eBay store selling all over the place. And I I would learn, I would used to get in the bed with my iPad and just read, like, just learn. I would go to like Saks Fifth Avenue website and read what are the high end brands and just look at the brand names that they sell. And I would, go to Neiman Marcus and do the same. So I started learning about these high end clothing things. And then when I'd find them at the thrift store, I would know that I could grab those and for $1, and it just worked out. It was lots of fun. And I ended up learning how to do a computer. I was real proud of myself.
Yes. And I'm actually looking at the blog post I did because I took a bunch of pictures of your boutique. So I will put that link under the podcast and also send it to you so you can relive that. But it was November 10th, 2013.
Wow.
And so I've got pictures of your mannequin with pretty jewelry on it, and then different photos of the entire space, your table of denim. You've got some pretty containers of like lingerie and undergarments, and then your jewelry and your shoes. And I was so impressed. So I documented this for you. If you don't have pictures, I've got them. And then you got out of the business for a while and you just gave me a bunch of stuff.
And for a while, I would give her that we'd meet at the Kroger parking lot, and I would hand her like the big laundry basket full of clothes to list, and she would list them for me.
Right. Yes. So
and we did that for a while also.
So she was like your assistant. It wasn't virtual, but yeah, y'all would meet and she'd pick up the clothes because we only lived about 5 miles apart. And yeah, she kind of got you a head start getting things listed for you. And I'm quite sure that you didn't list everything in that store on eBay because you had probably, I don't know, over 1,000 items in there.
No idea. It was a lot. Boutique that you would walk in New York City.
Yes, I just loved it.
Cute little cozy boutique.
It was
the 2 really cool chairs that I got there. I got those at the Goodwill and brought them in, and they were just these real like mid-century modern chairs. I wish I kept those. They're probably valuable. But anyway, one thing I did that was fun when I have my friends come over, I had that mannequin, and I would always say, well, since you're here, I want you to dress my mannequin. And then we're fun just going through all my clothes and jewelry and everything and decorating up my mannequin. So
yes. And
fun thing I did.
At first, I couldn't understand why you didn't have everything on eBay, because that was my mentality: is make as much money as you can selling to everyone in the world. But it was like a social event in your basement.
I don't know how to sell. You got me started. I had no idea. What happened was I started thrifting, loving it so much. It snowballed out of control, and I was buying, and then we didn't know what to do with all of it. So I just made it a cute little store, and I couldn't really advertise it. It was in my basement. It wasn't like a real store that was. Anyway.
Yeah, and so
you just got me started, and then it just took off.
Yeah, and you joined my group because you wanted to learn how to sell on eBay, and what prompted this interview is you recently came back and rejoined the group, and I thought, well, I never kicked you out. And so I think your Facebook got hacked and you had to start over or something. But yeah, and then you started posting a few sales to reconnect and catch up, and so this is great. But yeah, I was very impressed with your store and your house, and just the space you made. And I'm still looking at these pictures. You've got artwork on the walls and these pretty like mid-century modern sconces, and just you just had it. It was just fabulous, and I don't even use that word, but it was such a nice space, and you were just like ready to go with eBay. So anyway, it's been a while since you've been in the eBay world because your husband had a stroke.
He had 3 strokes.
Oh no.
He's had 3, and he's doing okay. And
Good.
he could still mow the yard on that riding lawnmower. And he's a good health. He likes vacuuming and things. But he's okay. He's really doing okay. It's just mostly well, he couldn't work anymore. So that's another thing. Because he could not work anymore, he got on disability. I just thought bringing the selling back, just gave us a little extra money to enjoy our time together, going out to eat, and it gives me money to go back and shop, and it pays for my eBay shopping. So I may not be making nearly as much as I used to, but it gives me something. It gives me a little bit of a lifestyle.
Well, and it's a distraction from all the seriousness of caregiving.
Absolutely, that's another thing. It's very much it's a therapy for me. Even if I don't buy anything, I just like to go down to this. I've got several thrift stores. I'm in thrift store heaven where I live, right here in Marietta. There are thrift stores everywhere and really nice ones. And it just sometimes if I get really stressed, I just say, and my husband will even say, "Go to the thrift store," and he'll say, "Only $20."
Right? Yeah, it's better than going to the liquor store, right?
Things I could be doing, and I don't need to buy anything at all. I just browsing. I just love going, looking around, taking my time, freeing my mind.
So what area of Marietta are you in? Are you going to like the thrift stores in what's that one just off the square, kind of down a little bit? Starts with a W. It's a Goodwill.
Marietta.
Kind of, it's like a mile or two off the square, kind of down through those really super nice old money neighborhoods. I'll think of it in a minute. Yeah. So which Goodwills are you going to, if you don't mind?
I'm at the very end of Marietta. I'm kind of in the middle of between Kennesaw and Woodstock. We all kind of
Okay.
up to each other. So I'm actually close to downtown Woodstock.
Oh, okay. Okay. I'm thinking of the Goodwill on Whitlock.
Okay, Whitlock. I've been there several times. That's a nice one, and near where all the doctors live.
Yeah, I used to go over there and find great stuff. And then the other one I liked was not near there, but the Mountain Park one. I think I ran into you a few times there.
Probably. Well, down by yes. There's one off of Highway 92.
Yes.
In Woodstock.
Okay, that's Highway 92, like Woodstock. It's a very old store. And then this is Mountain Park, kind of near that Publix, going towards Roswell. But anyway, the listeners are like, we have no idea what you're talking about. But so they closed Park Avenue Thrift, didn't they?
Well, it's reopened. Okay, that was on near my house also, but it was a what do you call it when the thrift store has everything on a clearance?
The outlet. There was an outlet, and then there was a regular store. Yeah.
And they closed it, but they opened it back up as just a regular store. It's not, and they have it in the window. It says this is not an outlet anymore. But I go there, and they have great deals. And I have started. One of the things I really like to sell are plus size ladies' clothes. I feel like, especially for eBay, you kind of have to know who are the people who shop on eBay,
right?
And it's not always the young hip place. There's other places where my daughter, who's in her early 30s, her friends and the younger people have different platforms that they like to go and shop on. And I feel like eBay maybe this is just my opinion, caters more to the older people, 50, 60, 70-year-old women that like to shop. And they like those older, and there's a lot of plus size people that don't feel like shopping in the stores. They like to sit at home. And it's just older people that want to stay home. And I cater to those older brands like Alfred Dunner
Mm-hmm.
that, a lot of people say, well, old lady clothes. Well, you don't have to sell just things that you like to wear and that is really cool for you to wear. But to me, I think I'd rather sell what is out there that people are looking for that maybe I don't wear, but they're things that a lot of people do. And
Right.
when I work in these assisted living centers, I look at these old ladies in their 80s and they're still buying on eBay and they're wearing all those grandma shirts. So, you don't
Well,
have to
and
about your
part of the older women is you get physically, it's too hard to go shopping.
physically.
You've got to get dressed, you've got to drive over there, and
Yeah.
if you don't drive, if your vision's not great or whatever reason you're not driving, you've got to find someone to take you. And I feel like online is so convenient for anybody of any age that is it may not be an official disability, but life just gets hard when you get older and your body doesn't work right. And so you're very smart to identify what people want and offer that, because if you're on Instagram and you're watching all these young people in their trendy clothes, well, that's that generation. you know
Yeah.
the older people, they want something different, and as long as you can find it for them and sell it and make money and enjoy doing that, it really doesn't matter what brand it is.
Right. A lot of them I've noticed, like when I was caregiving for a lady, a lot of these people that live in assisted living centers, and these are women, I'm telling you what, they dress. They go to the dining hall and they are fixing their hair and putting on their jewelry and they are cute. And they don't want to look like old people. They want to get out there, but they have certain things that are sentimental to them, certain brands that they've been wearing for years and they still love them. And they buy from catalogs where they have to pay $70 for a shirt, and then you have to pay an extra $12 shipping. And they're like, and I would show them like eBay. You can go over here, you can buy this same shirt on eBay for $25 instead of paying 50 or 75. And I would get the ladies over there doing this because these people know how to use computers and they know how to do this stuff. So I don't know. It's just fun. I like to show people how to save money and buy something they like.
And you are such a blessing to those people. I follow your Facebook and your work
Thanks.
at the with the elderly people in the assisted living, and you're just so cheerful, and you write them notes and bring them little gifts and flowers, and it might just be one flower in a vase, and it just
Yeah.
brightens their day. And that is definitely a calling, because not everybody can do that.
I write them notes in calligraphy and put it around on their refrigerator. It might say Happy Thanksgiving or Merry Christmas, and I'd write cards and I put a little note on their pillow and I hope you're feeling it. Like before I go home,
Mm-hmm.
if they had a bad day or something, I one lady I put on her a little note on her pillow saying, "May God take care of you tonight and help you sleep." Just a little thing like
Oh,
that.
that's sweet. Yeah, and you're so just cheerful. And I just went through my dad being ill and passing, and we were
Mm,
in and out of hospitals, and his wife
mm,
was still in their assisted living, so we see her, and then hospice. And that's just hard. It's just difficult, and to
mhm.
have cheerful people makes all the difference in the world.
Yeah,
I had
it really is.
a neighbor where I lived like two apartments ago. And she was a nurse at a dementia center, a dementia care, and she hated
Mm-hmm.
it. And she just was so, I was like, the way she would
Mm,
talk about her work, she just hated it. And I thought, these patients cannot be getting uh, good care because she
mm-hmm.
hates her job. And I would just say, well, then do something else. Oh, well, this pays the
Right.
most, or something like that. And I was like, yeah, but if you hate going every day, what's your quality of life? So it's definitely a calling where you can, some people don't even like to go to those places to visit. It's just depressing. Yeah. And, they're watching their loved one just waste away, and you don't know what kind of day they're having, but you're always cheerful, and you've got your own struggles going on, but yet you can help other people have a happy day. And I admire that about you.
Well, thank you. I mean, it's so important no matter what your job is. You have to find something you love. You'll do better at your job if you love your job. And there was one time I had a job I didn't love, and I was a lunch lady in my kids' school.
Well, there's the problem right there. Is your kids probably didn't want you there.
I didn't love it. I did it because at the time we needed benefits for the family, and I thought, well, I'm going to work. I went in there, and I was like not really a person that was a kid person. I was more of an old person. Since I was a young kid, I loved old people. I loved people. And so that job I did as a necessity. But then I started caregiving and taking care of going to these people's house. And I found that that's where my heart was. Of course, your work's going to be better when your heart's in it. So just like selling on eBay, well, if I love clothes, I do. I love clothes. I love to go out sourcing and finding nice clothes. I love doing garment care. I started buying the what's it called, antibacterial soap with the that's unscented.
Oh, the detergent. Yeah.
Yes. When you mail things, I started thinking, well, a lot of people don't like scents and they have allergies and whatever. So I might wash my things on a gentle cycle in that type of soap. And I'll even leave a note, or sometimes I put it in my description when I list it, that I've already washed this in an antibacterial soap. And I get back comments in my, when people leave their, what is it called, the reviews?
The feedback. Yeah.
The feedback. Too. I get feedback saying he even wrote a note and washed it in antibacterial soap. But the little details help. Just thinking about people and what they want, not just what we want all the time.
And that's perfect.
We went from lunch lady to washing in soap. I don't know where I am. You have to start leading here.
Well, that's the way this podcast goes. It's not scripted. It's organic, and we talk about what comes up, and that's what the listeners like. Is we're just real people talking about life and eBay and whatever happens. And I know that eBay is not the focus of your life because you're a little hesitant. You're like, well, I don't really sell that much anymore. But you know what? You're a real person, and you're juggling a lot of things. And so how is your eBay going? How many things do you have listed now, or how much do you work on it?
Yes, I just a few days ago went down into the basement, and my husband, we ordered a hanging rack from Amazon. He assembled it, and I hung up a bunch of clothes there that I've already got ready to list. And I have a couple big bins full of things that I've listed. I'm only right now at about 42 items, I think, that I have online. Mm-hmm. That's it. I'm just starting back, and I have probably about 50 garments hanging ready to list. So I've been doing really well as far as I don't want to overbuy so that my house gets piled up, and I want to be able to manage. So this is a good fresh start, that I'm just buying and trying to list a couple things a day. And right now, and sometimes I get on a roll. If I just say I'm going to list a couple things, I say I'm going to only do 2 things, then I might do 4. Mm-hmm. But you got to make yourself, if you say you're just going to do 2, you get started and then you start liking it, or you're on a roll and you're in that mode, then you can get more than you, because my husband will say, I thought you were only going to do 2. I'm like, well, but I'm having fun, So it's just, you have to kind of.
Yeah, I do the same thing. I have my goal is 5 things a day that, haven't been there before. And some days I do 2, and some days I do 10, and some days I do 0. because I'm just like, oh, I'm so burned out. I don't want to look at the computer for one more second. I'm going to go for a walk or, something else, because you can't just be, it's balance. You can't just be glued to it all the time. So you've got, your husband. So does he require any in-home care, like home health or anything? So
he is the only thing that really affected him was his speech. So he still has his mind. He can still work the TV remote control magnificently.
Oh, good. That's very important.
You can't ever dial because I won't know how to watch TV. I won't know how to work the remote control. And he kind of laughed at me because that's just a going joke. He's the remote control master around here, but he still does things. He's helpful. He's useful. We go out to eat. We're best friends. We get along better now than we did back when he was working all the time and never home. Felt like I was raising my kids alone. And now it's like he's just a nice, gentle guy. And he's my best friend. And I, a lot like you said, you can't constantly be working. You have to take breaks and enjoy your time with your family. He may not, I don't know how long he's going to be with me. So we're going to enjoy the rest of our life together. But he's very supportive of me going to the thrift store. In fact, sometimes we'll be out just driving around and he'll just pull into a Goodwill parking lot, and I'm like, I start, my heart's palpitating. I'm like, you did that for me. I mean, it's like he would, some women get excited if they bring home a dozen roses or something. If he just spontaneously pulls into a thrift store parking lot because he knows I love that, I just think that is the most romantic thing you can do.
And so what you need is like the Price is Right. So I meant to say a while back, when we were talking about Marietta, my son works for the city of Marietta as an IT guy. And so he lives in Kennesaw, but he goes to that Goodwill on Whitlock, and he has furnished his apartment. He buys his clothes there, and he has no problem because he's seen me do this his entire life. And, he says, I don't care if it's used. I mean, if you go to Target and buy something and bring it home, after 5 minutes, it's used.
And I tell people, I know I have people saying, like, ooh, you bought some like sheets from the thrift store. And I'm like, yeah, and I wash them and I do a double rinse. And I said, when you go to the Hilton, Regency Inn or whatever, I said, do you think you're the only one that ever slept on those sheets?
Yeah. Do you think the Ritz-Carlton puts new sheets on the bed every time? No.
Really expensive store to buy brand new clothes. I mean, other people have been trying those things on, and they may have. You just don't know what. You know what? You just wash your clothes. It's going to be fine.
Yeah. Anyway, I was going to say there's another Goodwill. It's down on 41 in that little shopping center where it's like Dave's Piano Bar or something. I found good stuff in that one. Is that near you?
Really, I'm actually closer to where your son is. Probably. I mean, I'm right near Kennesaw.
Okay.
I'm not far from KSU. I'm between KSU and downtown Woodstock. I'm kind of right there.
Okay, and so that's why he's in that area. As he went to KSU, so he just kind of the school had they have companies that they send the students, newly graduated students, like, oh, you can go apply for a job here, and that network. So he kind of got in through that. But he loves working downtown. He's right on the square, like where the courthouse is, and all those great restaurants. And it's good to have them launch when they're successful, and you don't have to worry about them. Which brings me to my next thing I wanted to mention is your daughter and her experience with Disney and all that. Can you talk about what she did there?
Girl, she was going to, this was way back. I don't even know how many years ago now. She's 31 right now and just got married last October. Well,
Right.
we love him, but they're in Omaha, Nebraska,
Mm-hmm.
which is sad because that's so far from us.
Yes. Yes.
But
And
they're
very
she's in
different
their
from Georgia.
college at Young Harris College, and she had a boyfriend that she was having a bad relationship. They broke up, and she couldn't stand it. She said, "Mom, I got to get out." She was in her final year of college, and she said, "I can't stand it. I got to get out of town. I'm going to start my life over." And she literally, without knowing anybody down in Florida at all, she didn't have friends or anything. She said, "I just want to go to work for Disney." She said, "I'm going to go down there and try to and see if I can be Snow White or something." So anyway, she packed up her bags and she packed up her clothes and knickknacks and stuff. She had found a place where like 3 or 4 girls could live in a place together, and so she got down there and moved in and just real independent. And she tried interviewed for all these or auditioned for all these shows and princesses and all this stuff, and there was nothing available. So here she was. The only job she could find, they said, "Well, if you want to work right away, you could be a lifeguard." And so she's like, "Oh boy!" But she went. So she ended up taking the lifeguard job at Typhoon Lagoon, and she ended up loving it. And then what else? Like that's where she met her love of her life too.
Oh,
While
great.
they were down there. Yeah, but
Boy,
anyway,
Disney has all kind of perks, doesn't it?
yeah. And then we also learned about, selling things. After she came home for a while and then went back, and she actually started doing eBay also. And we would start together, going, we went to the thrift stores, and we'd always like, let's look for Disney things. So we'd look, and Disney things, they sell so well. So especially if you find old Disney,
Right.
Disney shirts, those Disney sweatshirts, they sell for a lot of money. And so we just had a lot of fun together. So I miss her.
Well, and she did such beautiful makeup because you would
She does
post
that too. That's right.
pictures of makeup she did on herself, different looks. And did she have special training in that, or just she just good at it? Okay.
When she first moved to Omaha, when her boyfriend took her up there and moved her in with his family, she went to work for Ulta Cosmetics,
Mm-hmm.
and at that time they put her in the Lancome section.
Okay.
And then Lancome, at that time, they don't do it anymore now, but they did. They took her and they trained her. They sent her to like Chicago and different cities, to do makeup. They trained her professionally to be a Lancome rep kind of person. So she learned a lot of that through Ulta. But
Okay.
they quit doing that. But now she just started looking at different Instagram followers and learning things, and she did makeup on people at Ulta also all the time. But now she's really gotten professional. She does weddings for people. She'll make like $1,500 in a day doing a wedding party.
Oh, that is great. Well, she's such a beautiful girl. She looks like Snow White anyway. And then she would do these makeup looks for different characters. And I was just like, oh gosh, she is very talented.
Well, and she is doing IT of all things. She works in a laser hair removal corporate office, and she has a good IT job, but she does these weddings on the side, and the makeup. So she still does that for people, and she's a happy person. And she married into a Disney family.
Oh gosh.
Omaha. Yeah, she married into a guy that has, they have enough money to go to Disney 4 times a year.
Oh, wow.
Nebraska, they fly. So anyway, they're doing great. She's about to go on a Disney cruise, and because the father-in-law retired, and he's paying for all his family to go on a Disney cruise and everything. So she's living the life right now.
Good for her. And you just became a grandma.
I have 2 grandchildren.
2. How'd I miss that?
Yeah,
okay.
My youngest son has, he was the first one to have a grandchild, a child. And that little boy is now about 15 months old. And then we just 2 weeks ago had a little baby girl from my older son. So I
Oh,
have three
okay.
kids. I have Jonathan, Mary Ellen, and Benjamin, my three children. And I've
Okay.
got two grandbabies.
Do the grandbabies live near you? Oh, good. Oh,
So
good.
it's good. It's good. Well, whenever we can and whenever they want to get the kids out, sometimes they say we don't want anybody to get sick, so we want to keep them home right now. But it's good. It's
Okay.
a lot of fun.
Your
So
life is
we're
just,
enjoying that.
your life is just jam packed with stuff.
It is. I know. And I do right now I only have one lady. The other two lady passed away. That's the hardest part about my job. I get close to people and it's always people that are near the end of their life, it seems like. But I am working for a lady that's only 61 years old and she's in the final stages of Alzheimer's.
Oh, no.
So, and her husband has been taking care of her, and he just got to the point where he had to have help, and so I told him to get hospice, and he did, and he thought that was one of the best things he ever did to
Mm-hmm.
bring them in, and he's right there helping change her with me and feeds her, and he takes good care of her. So there's a lot of people out there that need good help. And I love doing it. It's hard, it's sad, but it's also very satisfying for me to be able to give somebody dignity at the end of their life and just make sure that they're comfortable and and be there for the family members that are, going through this.
Yeah.
So I love doing that
That's
too.
very important and appreciated from, someone who's just been through that. Well, with my sister, that was November of 23. Her husband died of early onset Alzheimer's. It's the same thing that Bruce Willis has. And so it was
Mhm.
6 years of that for her. And
Yeah.
so it does, the caregivers are so important. And I think the bottom line is what you're doing there makes a difference. You're doing something that matters,
Yeah.
and you may
Yeah.
not hear back from the people that you help, but to have compassionate caregivers who really do care about the person, um, that's just gold. That's just,
Well, here's the thing. Of course, you don't hear back from the person after they pass, but their families, I am getting every Christmas, I get Christmas cards. All these people I'm taking care of, the people that their children or their spouses or whoever that knew me and saw me working with their parents or their loved ones, they stay in my life. I mean, I still get gifts on my birthday. They send me gift cards and stuff. Just people that they're like, oh, we know how much my mother loved you, and you're going to be part of our family. I mean, I know they stay. These people appreciate anybody that loves their loved one. They love me forever. I'm a forever friend. And that's the most rewarding thing of all. I know, and that proves that I did a good job because they still tell me.
right. Yeah.
Really.
I think that's
Yeah.
wonderful that
So
you stay in their life. And especially if it's the family's first time going through something like this, you just don't know
yes.
what to do. You don't know. You question all your choices. Is this the best thing? Did I do this right? Did I do this wrong? What would the patient want? That's the thing, is you're making choices for your loved one, and sometimes they're not coherent enough to help you make those choices. And so the caregivers often give their opinion, like, well, here's what happened in this case. Or
Exactly.
how when you go to the doctor and you have a decision to make about yourself, and you're like, well, what would you do if this was your child? Or what would you do if this was your, not themselves, but someone they love? What would you do if this was your wife? And they give you, so the caregivers can be like that because they've had experience. And that's just so comforting, because if it's your first, even if it's not your first time, we had 3 deaths in our family in 14 months. And it was the decision making is exhausting because you don't know if you're making the right choices. But I said all that to say that you are valuable in that work. And we haven't talked that much about eBay, but because you're so busy with everything. But the bottom line is that you can fit eBay in around anything. And it's a balance. And like you said, going thrifting is, that's a mood booster, or as Tina Wozniak calls them, a boredom buster. And it's like retail therapy, but it's not that expensive.
Are you not going to ask me about that time I bought a beautiful car?
Well, I was saving that for the end. So yes, some of the listeners. No, we're getting to the end. So I wanted to end on a happy note. So some of the listeners, if you read my blog or if you were in the group, you might remember Catherine's story about the wonderful scarf she wore to church. So I'm going to leave that to you to explain.
Well, are you ready for me to tell that now?
I'm ready because we've almost been going for an hour. So we're about ready to wrap it up. Yeah.
I don't know what to do. I don't know what to say. And here we have been just talking, and you've made me feel at ease.
Oh, wonderful. Yeah, you were kind of nervous, but yeah, just go ahead and talk about that beautiful scarf that you found.
It was a holiday time. It was cold out, and it was at the Goodwill down here, not too far from where I live, and they had scarves hanging there, and I thought, well, I had just a kind of a solid dress, and I wanted a Christmassy scarf or something. So I went up there and I found this beautiful, it was like a crushed burgundy velvet. And I put it around me and I thought, oh, this is just really nice. And it was in really good shape. So I bought it and I got ready for church the next day. And I had this dress on and I had my beautiful scarf. And I went to church and everybody was like, oh, you look so pretty today. I love your scarf. And I thought, oh, thank you. And, I didn't want to tell everybody I got it at a thrift store. I just acted like it was something really special that I might have paid a lot of money for. But everybody's like, oh, you look so great. I was like, thank you so much. And anyway, so I got home and I was getting ready to just change into my jeans and everything. And I took off my scarf and I looked at it and I thought, there's a big hemline at the bottom of the scarf. And I realized that was a hemline to put a curtain rod through. And then I was just like, why? I wore a valance. I wore a valance shirt. And everybody, it was just a beautiful crushed velvet scarf. And I called my mother. I said, Mama, I told my mom. And she just cracked up laughing. She said, it's like Carol Burnett. She said, wearing the curtain rod.
I know that.
And then when you put that story, all these people, it was like I got famous. All these people remembered I kept getting Carol Burnett pictures.
Yes.
Gone with the Wind, curtain rod on her shoulder. And you even I had a picture. My mother took a picture of me with that curtain rod. I think you have that picture.
Yes, I'm looking at it right now. That's on my blog as well. It's on June 13th, 2014. I titled it The Funniest eBay Fail Ever. And so I've got your picture of you wearing the valance, and below it is the Carol Burnett, Scarlett O'Hara skit where she's wearing the curtains. And then it links to the post on my Facebook group from, let's see, it was on April 23rd, 2014. It had 286 comments. Everyone just thought that was so funny. So I'll put those links below the podcast so you guys can check out Catherine, my valance wearing friend.
I'm telling you what, though, it puts another use to multitasking, I'm telling you. So there you go.
Yeah, multi-purpose, You can dress a window or you can dress yourself.
Mother loved that story so much. We moved her into an apartment a few years before she passed, and I hung that valance in her little bedroom window, and she would call me and say, I got up this morning, I saw your valance, and I just laughed and laughed. And I'm telling you what, that brought her so much joy. She just thought that was the funniest thing in the world. So I'm telling you, joy comes in the craziest ways.
That's what I meant by you were so entertaining, because you just told that story and you're like, you didn't care. You just told everybody.
I love that. It was such a pure, honest mistake. And I think that's what made it funny. If I had tried to do it on purpose, it wouldn't have been so funny. But the fact that it was a complete mistake, and I really was walking around thinking I looked so beautiful that fancy scarf on. And,
Well, you got a good deal on it and it was beautiful. So and I think, I don't know if this comes with age, but this happens with my kids all the time. They're 28 and 31 now. And it's like, I'll do something and I'll do it wrong or backwards or whatever. And my son will say, Mom, you did that wrong. And I'm like, yeah, I know I did. It's just easier just to admit it and just to admit it and laugh and move on. And I just don't think anything's embarrassing. It's just, I try to make it into humor. Life's just easier that way.
I can relate. I mean, all of us do silly things. So we're just real people.
Yeah. And you are the realest of all.
More stories if you ever need to talk again.
Well, now that the podcast is not a big thing, it's just two people talking and laughing. We'll have to do it again once you get your eBay rolling a little bit more. And I have people on as repeat guests all the time because they've got more interesting stories to tell. And that's, eBay can be kind of isolating, especially if you're at home or a caregiver or just by yourself or, most people out in the world don't really get it, but we get it. So I love that my listeners say, oh, I can't wait for your podcast every week because I can relate to what you're talking about. And it's like our little club of resellers that we get the jokes and we get the excitement of pulling into the Goodwill parking lot. Like we get it. So
be jealous for my husband. They're going to say, man, I wish my husband would pull me into the parking lot of the Goodwill for a surprise.
True love. Your husband truly loves you to do that because he knows what makes you happy. And it doesn't matter what it is, he's doing it.
He did it for me because he doesn't really like.
Right. So he knows that's going to lift your spirits and help you feel better. And, it's therapy for us to go and treasure hunt. Even if you don't find anything, it's still good therapy. So, well, Catherine, thank you so much for coming on and sharing your stories. And I will definitely have you on my list to check back in and we'll do it again.
Okay. Well, thank you so much.
Okay, and we'll see you on the group with your great sales and finds. I'm looking forward to it. Okay.
Okay.
All right, have a good day. Bye.
That was such a fun chat. Not really heavy with eBay information, but maybe you just enjoyed our lighthearted chat. Again, if you want to see the blog posts with photos of Catherine's boutique and her gorgeous valance scarf, the links are below the podcast. Next week, my guest is Joy, who is a frequent poster on the Money Making Mondays in the Facebook group, and she finds all sorts of cool things to sell. Thank you, listeners, for tuning in, and I hope you have a profitable and productive week on eBay. Bye, everybody.